Hey, everybody, Bo Prosser, Center for Christian Education, along with my buddy, Ruben Swint, the generosity guy. We are talking about the hunt for Green October, loving the annual stewardship campaign. This is video 3 of a 3-part series on this hunt. Uh, we have talked about some specific ways to reframe our thinking around the idea of the annual pledge, if you will. We've talked about some concrete things we need to put in place to help that happen. We know that the pastor needs to be involved in helping promote the stewardship campaign to preach on giving. According to the Lilly Endowment, pastors in America preach on money one time a year, and many pastors don't preach at all on money. I think that's a mistake. I think, Ruben, you agree with me about that. Uh, but what I am curious about today, as we come to this final video, uh, we know there's going to be a calendar of things that are happening. There's going to be newsletter articles. There are going to be sermons. There are going to be posters. There are going to be bulletin inserts. But the one thing that I think is most important, and many people either omit or gloss over, is the stewardship letter or the invitation to participate. So as we begin this third video, perhaps you could take a few minutes and talk to us about this letter and tell us what it is we should really be paying attention to as we communicate the needs of the church to the congregation.
I'd be glad to, Bo. And the letter that goes out to members and friends in the congregation really sets the entire tone, if you will, for your stewardship season. And I think the letter should begin by not announcing it's stewardship season again. I think the letter should begin with a story. And the story should be reflective of who your congregation is and perhaps of a theme that you have chosen for this year's stewardship season. I want you to consider writing different letters, maybe 3 at the most, for different audiences in the congregation. Fundraisers call this segmentation. You've got different segments within your giving donor base. However, fundraisers segment by amounts of money given. I want to segment by life stage, if you will. Where are the people in their living their life, their long journey? Are they new adults, young adults, just starting out? Have they just married? Do they have young children? That's kind of one group, if you will. Another segment is the middle adults who are becoming empty nesters and now are focused on accumulating as much as they can so they can retire and not have to work. And then the final segment would be those who are in retirement years, though they may choose to continue to work some. But each life stage has its own challenges. And I like the idea of addressing that with the congregation, and people don't get one universal letter that kind of halfway fits maybe everybody, but it's not really the fit you need for the persons you're trying to communicate with. I would use the word generosity instead of stewardship. I would state that stewardship season is a spiritual growth opportunity, and you will be having opportunities to develop in your faith. I would connect whatever stewardship theme you have to your congregation's mission, doing this in the letter. Now, this may turn out to be more than one page, and I will tell you, if you begin with story, if you pinpoint the segments correctly, you will engage people and they will read the entire letter, whether it's on one page or not. and be sure to express gratitude for the giving that's already happening. Because some people reading the letter may be giving all they can, and they're doing the best they can, and they want to do more. But at this point, they can't. They're not going to Starbucks. They don't have a latte they can give up. So they are there. They're with you. Express gratitude for their faithfulness in that letter. Now, here's one thing to be prepared for. Be prepared for some anxiety on the part of the financial leaders in your church, those who manage your annual ministry plan, your budget, and those who are at the level of tithing or beyond, because what they will say, even if not to you directly, you will hear it. He should have asked them, she should have asked them to pledge the budget. That's the way we get this done. Pledge the budget and tithe. It's okay. Don't worry, they're just anxious. They haven't been through this approach. It's not what motivated them. You're trying to broaden the appeal to gather more people in, get more people on the giving path. Just let it go. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to be happy. They're going to love the stewardship season.
Now, one of the things we haven't talked about is the presentation of the annual budget needs, other than just basic financial sheet layout. I'm hearing more and more about narrative budgets and ministry story budgets. How does that play with the letter itself? And can you speak to some of the ways we might present the line item budget to our congregations?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, because here's an interesting fact about human beings in our society. Very few of us can take a financial statement with columns for income and columns for expenses and nets and all of that and understand what's really going on. We can understand our check register pretty well if we still use one. Otherwise, we're online and we're trying to scroll up and down. But very few people can just look and understand exactly the ins and outs of what's going on. So you've got to visualize that. And I think this is where testimonies have an important part to play. The testimony is not about how I came to give, what my family's giving to this. The testimony comes from a person who's serving in a particular ministry or mission of the church, and they're talking about the life change that they see happening on a regular basis because this congregation has decided to plant itself in the community and relate to the community and offer ministry solutions to the community. So I think testimonies are a wonderful way in a budget presentation to expand an understanding of what's going on here, to do essentially a narrative budget. One of the things I've done in the past, and I wouldn't do it again because it's too much paper, but basically took the budget by category and section and put it together in a booklet, a pamphlet. And there it was, and each line item had a 1 to 2 sentence detailed explanation, and there was a picture associated with it showing the ministry occurring. And that worked wonderfully well, but that was 3 decades ago.
Well,
something similar to that.
We're still a visual people, and we love stories at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, I'm going to tell you, I understand I need to speak positively and encourage people to participate. I need to celebrate what everybody's doing, regardless of the level. I know that I need to be less anxious about what we're doing, how we're doing it. We're going to have special events. We're going to involve a bunch of people. I know that I need to show how giving is not only a generous expression of what I have, but it's also a spiritual growth moment. I need to ask for some major gifts to support us. I need to talk about generosity, and I need to invite people to fill out that pledge card, even though we're not going to call it a pledge card. You've almost convinced me that I can love the stewardship moment in this search for green October, almost. So, are there some things I need to really be careful about not doing so that I don't undo all these positive things that we've talked about?
Well, yeah, and if I hear you correctly, Bo, you're saying, Ruben, I want to believe, help my unbelief.
Absolutely. And I'm almost there, but I'm not quite there.
All right. This is something I think anybody listening to the videos would figure out, but let me just enumerate it for you. There are things not to do. Don't apologize for the stewardship season. Do not apologize. You're doing something that helps the giver as much as, if not more than, the receiver of ministry by your church. It is indeed more blessed to give than to receive. So don't apologize. One, do not pledge the budget. That's not what you're doing. You will hopefully get support for ministry. That would be the same as if you tried to pledge the budget, but don't use that word. Do not pledge the budget. Do not use the word pledge. One of the best fundraising mentors I ever learned from was Jerry Panis. And even Jerry in his latter decades of service says people don't like the word pledge. Don't call it the pledge card. Do not focus only on financial generosity. Time is a commodity. Time has value. Time that people can give is an essential asset for carrying out your mission. Do not ask for a per capita average gift. I used to run into this a lot, not so much anymore, but it's the death of a good stewardship program to say our annual needs are $500,000. We have 500 active members. If each member pledged $1,000, we have met our needs. You'll get below average results doing that. You will not meet your goal. You will have people frustrated because they cannot give the average. You will have a lot of people in today's society happy because they're getting off light. They can easily give the average, and they could give a lot more as well. So you're losing the potential for their growth in giving and in stewardship and in spirituality. Do not make tithing the only option. This is not a tithing or not tithing kind of approach. This is a get on the giving path where you can and adjust as you can as you live your life and serve God through the congregation. And finally, this is a corollary is to do not apologize for the stewardship season. Finally, do not forget the abundance that God promises. There's an abundance for every good work you are called to do. We just need to be clever and creative in finding that abundance and applying it to the solutions we're offering in Christ's name. Now, there are things to do. One, speak positively and encouragingly and write your letter in the same attitude. In fact, here's a helpful exercise I do with every letter that I write. I read it out loud just to hear it. And if it doesn't sound positive and encouraging, maybe it isn't positive and encouraging. And let me make this offer to any of you who are listening to this 3-video series. If you would like me to review your annual stewardship letter gratis, this is my gift to you. I would be glad to take a letter that you have already written and give you feedback on that letter as a way to channel all of us towards loving the stewardship season. Do celebrate the giving you're currently receiving. Do stress ministry outcomes and life changes that you hear about. Do explain how giving is a spiritual growth experience. Do ask for major gifts. In other words, ask for gifts of $10,000, $15,000, Now, should you do that? Well, I will tell you this. The colleges, the hospitals, the children's homes, the hospices in your community are asking your same members for gifts at that level, and they're gladly giving them. They just don't know that you would like to receive it. Ask them for a major gift. Do use the words generosity and stewardship, and do ask people to create their own personal plan for giving.
So lots of good stuff that you've given to us. But realistically, I know that the people in my church are typically going to give between 3 and 5% of their bring home pay, not their gross pay or their net pay, just the money that they have. They're going to give me 3 to 5%. And I also know that 20% of my folks are going to give 80% of our budget.
Right.
So why should I go through all of this stuff that we've talked about? Why can't I just go, well, we got 100 members that are going to give 3 to 5%. That gives me the budget. And we know that 20% are going to give 80%. So we pretty much know where we're going to be. Why do I need to spend 6 weeks talking about money and trying to help people on this pathway?
Well, number one, don't spend 6 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe 2, 3 weeks at the most, because you don't have 6 weeks to give. Number two, do not have an uncampaign. The uncola will not give you the results you want. You're still going to have to do this. You're still going to have to be a gospel manager who acquires financial assets to pay the cost of ministry to people within the walls of your church and beyond. And that's just the society we live in. Now, having said that, Bo, I don't know of an institution alive, a charitable institution in our society that would have a donor base that's averaging 3% to 5% of its income on a regular basis to that institution. What other institution can boast that? And we can bemoan the fact that not everybody's tithing, even though I don't think that's realistic. We nevertheless need to see where everybody is, and we need to reinforce. The one thing the church does not do enough of, which every charitable institution does a lot of, is thank people for the giving they're already receiving. We want generous hearts, but many times we do not have grateful hearts when we're asking for people's generosity. We need to start with a grateful heart and say, thank you for blessing so many people through your giving. This is wonderful. And I think for people to hear that on a regular basis just encourages them to want to continue and continue even in giving more.
Absolutely. Many of those secular institutions you mentioned, if they get a $50 gift on a regular basis, they make a big deal about it. And
yeah.
we do not say thank you very well in our churches, nor do we teach very well in our churches. And the one thing I'm coming away from this series is that we are helping people grow in their discipleship. And a part of that discipleship is generosity. And we don't teach them how to be that. We just say, fill your pledge card out, and 2 weeks from now is Giving Sunday, and that's all you got to do. But done right and done well, number one, it's a year-round process of teaching. And number two, it's a focused invitation to invite people into community with us in this process.
Let me conclude, I guess, by offering this resource towards a year-round emphasis. There is a small book called Extraordinary Generosity, and it's written by a Methodist bishop, and it is 40 daily devotionals, if you will, around the theme of generosity with a biblical basis for the devotional. And it is excellent. And this is something that can be deployed in the Lenten season very effectively when we're talking about moving towards Easter and Jesus as the great giver of life through his own death, burial, and resurrection. So that's one resource I would highly recommend, is Extraordinary Generosity.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. You can contact me here at the center. I have a bibliography that can help you. I also have ideas for building your themes and hosting events and other things that we've done through the years that have worked. Ruben, you've offered to look over my stewardship letter, but are you available to help me do some campaigning? Are you still consulting churches?
I am. I'm still available. I do it remotely. I won't show up at the church site, but I will be present just like I am on this video. And I can do that for whether it's annual giving or endowment giving or even a capital campaign. For those of you who do want me to review your annual stewardship letter, just send it to my email address, rubenswent@gmail.com.
That's awesome. You can also get me at boprosser.com or bo.prosser@gmail. You can also send it straight through the website at boprosser.com. We're also on Facebook and we're on the YouTube channel as well. So Bo and the Beard and the Generosity Guy are all over the internet, and you can find us and we can help you. Shoot us an email, shoot us a phone call, whatever, and we'll get you hooked up with Ruben. Man, this is, as always, just a treat, and I learned so much, and I think I can even love the stewardship season. So Ruben, thanks so much for the challenge, but even more for the ideas. This is a wealth of information, and I'm just so excited for our churches. Friends, you've had a mini seminar now in your annual stewardship program. Holler if we can help you. Bo and the Beard, the Generosity Guy, the Center for Christian Education. We'll see you when we see you. Until then, keep on rocking, everybody.